What does a scam look like? Sometimes it's obvious. A shady email, a strange call. But the most dangerous scams don't come wearing masks. They wear lab coats, business suits, and smiles. From Wall Street to basketball courts, these are 6 of the most dangerous scams ever pulled off. Make sure to watch to the end because the 6th scam was only caught as recently as the year 2020, and it's one you've definitely heard of before. Bernie Madoff, the $65 billion illusion. Bernie L. Madoff wasn't hiding. In fact, he was in plain sight. Once, the chairman of Nasdaq and a trusted name in finance ran what became the largest Ponzi scheme in history. It spanned decades, reached across continents, and destroyed the lives of thousands. But what made it so shocking? It wasn't some fly-by-night operation. It was sophisticated and disguised as stable. A Ponzi scheme, in case you don't know what it is a financial illusion. People give their investment money to the person or company pulling off the scam, in this case, Bernard Madoff, but there's no real investment. The returns, paid to earlier investors, come directly from the capital of newer ones. As long as more people keep joining, it seems like everything is working. But when that chain breaks, it all collapses. Madoff built trust through exclusivity. He turned his investment firm into a private club by invitation only. Wealthy clients, celebrities, charities, hedge funds, they all wanted in because Madoff offered what seemed impossible. Consistent market-beating returns that were shockingly stable, even when global markets were crashing. He kept his fraud quiet, operating a fake investment advisory business on a separate floor of his firm. There were no digital records, just old-fashioned paper statements manually printed to show fake balances and returns. He claimed he was using a split-strike conversion strategy. Few questioned it. After all, why would they? Madoff was beating the stock market consistently for his clients and delivering solid returns. For over 20 years, investors were happy. That was until 2008. The global financial crisis sent investors scrambling to pull their money out. And Madoff, he didn't have it. The money was gone. That's when he admitted everything to his sons, who reported him to the FBI the next day. Madoff's scam affected an estimated 4,800 clients. Some lost thousands, others lost millions, and one man, Charles Murphy, lost over $7 billion before tragically taking his own life. Whole foundations closed, some retirees returned to work, even charities like Eli Wiesel's Foundation for Humanity were wiped out. When sentenced in 2009, Madoff received 150 years in prison. He died in 2021, but the impact of his crime are still rippling through finance to this day. Number 2, Tim Donaghy, the NBA's cheating referee. It's one of the most sacred principles in sport, fairness, and it was shattered by one man who was supposed to protect it. Tim Donaghy wasn't just any ref, he was an NBA insider, officiating nearly 800 games over 13 years. And yet, behind the whistle and black and white stripes was a man making secret calls, passing on confidential information and manipulating results. Between 2005 and 2007, Donaghy worked with 2 key figures, Tommy Martino and professional gambler Jimmy Batista. Using inside information, like which refs held grudges against certain players, who was injured, who might be benched, Donaghy passed on tips that gave bettors a decisive edge. In return, he got cash. Donaghy began influencing game flow. He wouldn't outright throw games, but he could affect the spread. A foul here, a no call there, momentum shifted, confidence crumbled, points moved. Millions were bet on these slight changes. Over 2 seasons, the group is estimated to have made hundreds of thousands of dollars. One of the most cited examples was Game 3 in 2007, Spurs versus Suns. Critics say Donaghy's calls directly altered the outcome. Suspicious fouls, technicals, missed infractions, all stacked in favour of the spread. Donaghy reportedly took home over $250,000 from his cheating, but eventually the FBI got a tip. The investigation led to Donaghy's arrest, but the real damage was trust. How many other games were affected? How many players' careers were changed? How many coaches fired or promoted based on games with questionable calls? The NBA implemented new oversight protocols, referee audits, and public transparency measures, but fans remain skeptical, and some still are. Number 3, Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos. Some frauds lose people money, this one endangered lives. Elizabeth Holmes was born in 1984 to a rich family in Washington, D.C. As she grew up, she had dreamed of one day becoming a billionaire. She wouldn't have to wait long to achieve this, as in 2003, the 19-year-old Stanford dropout launched a company with a simple, world-changing idea: diagnostic testing from a single drop of blood. Her startup, Theranos, promised to revolutionize medicine. Holmes claimed their device, the Edison, could run over 200 tests from just a finger prick. No more needles, no more lab weights. Investors loved it. She raised over $700 million from some of the world's most powerful people: Rupert Murdoch, Larry Ellison, Henry Kissinger. Her board included generals and former government officials. At its peak, Theranos was worth $9 billion. But the unfortunate news behind the scenes was that the Edison machine didn't work. Technicians routinely ran tests on standard commercial devices, data was manipulated, internal emails warned of inaccuracies, patients received false positives for conditions like HIV and cancer. Holmes controlled her company with an iron grip. Whistleblowers were silenced through intimidation and lawsuits. Employees were divided, tracked, and threatened. In 2015, Wall Street journalist John Carreyrou published an expose. The story unraveled. The SEC and DOJ began investigations and heavy lawsuits followed. In 2022, Holmes was convicted on 4 counts of fraud and sentenced to 11 years in prison. Her COO and partner, Sonia Balwani, got 13 years. But the true costs was the patient's health and the illusion that vision alone is enough. Sometimes ambition becomes delusion. Number 4. Luckin Coffee. Luckin is a coffee shop chain based in China that had one big mission: to beat Starbucks in China. For a moment, it looked like they might. Luckin Coffee exploded onto the scene with a modern twist: mobile ordering, delivery-first strategy, and sleek interiors. In just 2 years, they opened over 4,500 locations, outpacing Starbucks. But the numbers were too good. In 2020, internal audits revealed that Luckin executives had falsified over $310 million in revenue. They were selling coffee at a loss. Each cup was sold for the equivalent of $1.30, but cost them $2.57 to make. The audits revealed fake customers, bogus orders, fake receipts. But why would a company looking to compete with Starbucks do all of this? It was all to inflate stock prices, to get more investors, meet aggressive growth targets, and rapidly attain more and more locations until they could get a firm foothold in the Chinese market, overtake Starbucks, and then become profitable. The deception involved dozens of employees. Even suppliers were looped into creating artificial purchase records. Investors were completely in the dark. In the fallout of it being realised that a lot of figures all along were completely made up, the CEO and COO were fired. The stock plummeted over 90% and the company was delisted from Nasdaq. Chinese regulators imposed record fines of over $180 billion. The scandal was a wake-up call about the dangers of growth at all costs thinking in the startup world. Number 5. Wirecard, Europe's billion-euro black hole. It was supposed to be Europe's answer to Silicon Valley. Instead, it became its greatest embarrassment, with the founders now on the run from the authorities. Wirecard began as a small payment processor in Germany, but grew aggressively. It brought up smaller fintech companies, entered markets in Asia, and quickly gained a reputation for innovation. But critics noticed red flags. Financial Times journalists raised concerns about dodgy accounting and dubious overseas transactions. Wirecard denied everything. Wirecard claimed that 1.9 billion euros in cash was being held in a trustee account in the Philippines on behalf of its subsidiaries in Asia, supposedly from payment processing. But when auditors demanded confirmation from the banks, both BPI and BDO in the Philippines denied the money ever existed. The money was never there. The letters from the bank used to prove the funds existed were faked by Wirecard. But why is this relevant? It proved the company's revenues were fake. Just like Luckin Coffee in China, Wirecard had been fabricating sales and profits to inflate its share price and appear profitable. Investors believed they were backing a fast-growing, profitable tech company. In reality, a huge portion of its revenue never existed. It was also a massive fraud of trust. Wirecard was listed on Germany's blue chip DAX index, the equivalent of the S&P 500. It had full regulatory approval. This fraud shattered faith in Germany's financial oversight and damaged global investor trust in European tech. Worst of all, the CEO and COO were allegedly involved in all of this. CEO Markus Braun was arrested for fraud, market manipulation and embezzlement. He denied any wrongdoing but was heavily implicated. COO Jan Marsalek vanished just before he was to be arrested. He's still on the run today, possibly in Russia, and is suspected to have been the mastermind behind the scheme, orchestrating fake companies and offshore deals. A common misconception is that they were stealing customer funds, but they weren't. The missing $1.9 billion wasn't stolen from anyone. It never existed. Wirecard invented fake partners, fake revenues, and forged bank documents to keep investors hooked. And when auditors finally called their bluff, it all fell apart, with it being Germany's biggest post-war corporate fraud, leaving the financial world in shock. And finally, we have the sixth scam. But not every scam is illegal. Some are far more subtle, hidden in plain sight, disguised as help. And perhaps no modern example captures this better than Honey, the friendly little browser extension that promised to save you money.
Did you use Honey?
Honey.
It's
a free browser extension.
Free browser add-on?
Free browser extension. Go get you some honey.
Do it!
Do it right now.
So what's the catch?
There is no catch.
Honey was marketed as a free browser add-on that automatically found and applied coupon codes during online checkout. Millions of users installed it. YouTubers from every niche, tech, lifestyle, gaming, enthusiastically promoted it. Its branding was cute, the interface easy, and the pitch irresistible. Save money without lifting a finger. But beneath the surface, Honey's business model wasn't just about finding deals. It was about data. Every time users browsed a product, viewed a price, or completed a purchase, Honey collected that information. This included timestamps, product URLs, pricing trends, cart behavior, and brand preferences. This data wasn't sold in the way shady apps do, but it was mined deeply and used to build hyper-detailed customer profiles. These profiles became incredibly valuable to advertisers and e-commerce platforms because they revealed not just what people bought, but how and when they made purchase decisions. Then came the twist. Honey also made money by inserting affiliate links behind the scenes. This means that if you bought something through Honey, even if it didn't apply a working coupon code, Honey still got a commission, often several % of your total order, because it had claimed the sale, and you never saw that happen. In January 2020, PayPal acquired Honey for a jaw-dropping $4 billion. For a free extension that just applied coupons? Not quite. What PayPal bought was a treasure chest of consumer data and shopping behavior analytics. That's when users and commentators began asking questions. YouTubers like CoffeeZilla began calling out the ethics. Others asked why Honey's privacy policy was so vague. Even Amazon, one of the world's biggest online retailers, warned users not to install Honey, citing security risks. The backlash was never explosive like a criminal takedown, but rather a slow burn of realization. Honey may have saved you $5 on shoes, but it made far more off your shopping habits and taking a nice commission with their affiliate links. No one went to prison, no courts ruled against it, but the incident highlighted something deeper about modern online life. Surveillance capitalism is real and often completely legal. Honey still exists, millions still use it, but the question remains, are we really the consumer or are we the product? So that's it. Every scam starts with trust and a promise, but ends in disaster. And as they say, if you're going to lie, you need a good memory. These were the ones we caught, but what about the ones that are still happening? Not all scams are illegal, some are invisible, so stay careful, because the next great scam might already be in your cart. If you enjoyed this video, click on screen to watch a similar video to this one, and subscribe so you don't miss our weekly uploads.